which is good.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm going to be your host, and I have Councilor Erik Gitschier with me today, and I want to thank him for coming in because I know he's got a busy schedule. He has to run out at about 6:45 to the school, so I'm sure he has a lot to do. I want to thank him to make sure the roads were salted this morning. Same to Tewksbury coming in and Drake. It's a little slick out there. Not bad, but a little.
Nice.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, particularly if you have a wooden deck like I do.
Yeah, be very careful.
Yes.
When you're walking.
Yes, so but it's warming up, and I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. So, what happened? Did you have a meeting last night?
We did. We had a subcommittee before it on the housing subcommittee, which we recommended the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to build one. So then it went to the council, and we actually accepted the ordinance to build one. So I think that's a...
You're too tight. He's too far.
Okay, thank you, dear.
That's better. Thanks.
I think that's a really good piece to start and get moving. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund would be to help out projects to make more affordable housing in the city, and keep costs where they could be. I don't know that there's such thing as affordable right now.
Well, I was just going to ask you that. Is this like just a 40B, or is this going to be a state project, or?
No, it would be city.
City.
So you would apply to the city, and the city would take the application and see if it fits within the needs that they want.
That's good. That might work.
It's kind of like the CPC, except it's going to be on.
Okay.
On
that part of the housing.
Yeah.
I got you. Because for anybody out there, CPC, part of that is housing.
Right.
Housing.
And that's what you're looking at. You're basically trying to take some of that and mirror image it over to the city side, where you could do it at a rolling, and it wouldn't be one date every year. So you could roll it in as projects come in and timeframes that need to be met.
We've got a couple small projects like that in Tewksbury. One is that house that's up on the hill as you come in towards the bridge there.
Yeah.
It's been vacant for so long, and issue there's the state, of course, getting them to release it, because they took all that by eminent domain.
I mean, that's the challenge always, is the red tape and trying to get things done. And sometimes when you're a contractor and you're going in, you get upfront pricing that you don't want to move, so you need to get moving on the funding sources right away, because pricing is it's so fluctuating so much right now that it's tough for a lot of people to even make investments. So that's where the problems are lying right now. Your investments are really a big fluctuation right now. You don't know what's going to happen with interest and everything else.
Oh God! I mean, I'm just waiting for the economy to do something. It's so bizarre. I went to buy some sage, and it was $6 for a 1-ounce bottle. So I went to the garden and chopped all my sage down and brought it into the house, because that's insane. That's just really insane. And that's primarily because it's Thanksgiving, but the prices are ridiculous.
We were talking about that the other day with one of the city workers, and they said, we got a 4% raise this year in 4-4. So they got a 4% raise, but when you look at that raise, if you make $50,000, that's $2,000 a year. So if your groceries went up $50 a week, your $2,000, you're already in the rears. So, and that's the challenge that people are having. Are we being taken advantage of by a lot of companies, like the electric companies, the gas companies, or are they seeing this shift in the market where they have to pass on the cost? When you're watching CEOs run away with such record profits in their pockets and everything, sometimes you wonder, is government giving them too much money? And when we can go all the way back to like Exxon and that, where they get all these breaks, and then next thing you know, they're opening up a gas station with a variety store in the middle of it, because they're getting the breaks. So they should be able to sell a Snickers or a tonic a lot cheaper than the local variety store where the person actually goes. So they put them out of business, and now everywhere you go is you get gas, you get something, or you go in, that's all that's left, and it's not as I don't think it spends well into the community like the mom and pops did.
Right. Well, maybe. Good morning, Corey.
Good morning. Good morning, Councilor.
Good to
Good morning,
see
Linda.
you.
How are you?
I'm very well. He's only here till 7, so I'm going to ask him a few questions.
No, I was supposed to get here at 7, but I'm early.
I'm glad. I'm always glad when you're early, Corey.
You know what it's like keeping up with Councilor Gitschier? I'm telling you. Not easy.
Just being nice
But
again.
here I am.
Well, I know. Tell me first, let's jump over to the school, the Voc. Well, you've got an addition coming.
We have three going on currently. So we have the modulars, which is the addition you're talking about. And thank you to your board for giving us the path to get there. It's 8 classrooms being built so that we're not expanding. We're actually trying to move some classrooms outside so we can expand some of the shop space that we need. So that's always good. We have the field house going on. That's part of renovation to the athletic complex where we're building the concession stand, bathrooms outside.
And the kids are working on
And
it.
the kids are doing that. And now we just got the foundation, and we started about a month ago on a vet tech program that we're building a building for. So we put an addition, a 35 by 40 addition to one of the buildings that are currently there. But that was something that just came up maybe a month ago. And we
Yeah.
said we need to get this done by June. So that's really one of the reasons why I couldn't go to
What a great
Canada.
field that is.
It's an amazing place. We've seen the numbers, which is kind of crazy to see how much a simple field can bring in people. The numbers for football games used to be like 100 to 200. This year, the average was over 1,000.
And I want to thank the other communities. I know Tewksbury gets to go over there every so often. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, we use the swimming pool is used a lot because I think, again, we look at immediate gratification and cost in a lot of areas and not sometimes the best benefit for a community. We got rid of a lot of pools in the city of Lowell and went to splash pads. So what happened in the high school got rid of the pools. So that's another challenge. So what's happening now is at Greater Lowell, the Lowell Rec comes in on Saturdays and Sundays and actually teaches swimming lessons. So and it's very, very
That's
big.
amazing.
It's very popular. Like there's 200 people on each day, kids
Oh, of
learning how to
course.
swim. So
Of course,
yeah,
that's
it's pretty
fabulous.
popular.
Yeah, it's a great program, Eric. I mean, losing the pool at the high school is a tremendous loss, no doubt about it. That hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
We
always
should've
comes
found
down to
the money.
economics.
Yeah,
And
we should have found the
liability.
money.
Yeah.
We should have found the money.
It's just economics, and down there, it's space too, right? And maybe there's a way that, I don't know, you could put one at the South Common or something like that. You could enclose it and try to figure it out. But I think that at the end of the day, there's a lot of value into being able to swim in a city that's surrounded by water.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot of things, and it is money. There's always something that's going to pull, and what's the priority, and how you're going to move the pieces, and actually get back something for the taxpayer.
Well, I love that you talk about our board. I love working with the VOC from conservation point of view. You always have the best people. And we were talking about this before we were on the air about
They don't hire their
engineers.
friends out there. They don't hire their friends out there.
They just are so easy to work with. They come in, we know what the issues are, they are aware of what the issues are, and very willing to work. And they do it immediately. I mean, everybody's under a time issue. I mean, let's look at Lowell and the VOC and in your high school, and then you look at the VOC, and it's like night and day. It's just the engineer, the quality of consultants that the VOC gets is really top shelf.
I think when you look at it, I think Councilor Belanger would agree, is the setup in government is a little bit different because it's a regional school, so you have 4 different regions in, and you have more say because it isn't like one's pulling or pushing at a direction. They're sitting back saying, what are they going to do and how are they going to come to us? So basically the 4 communities are hands-off unless we're looking for funding sources, which we never have, except for the once we went for the $65 million addition, which came in $4 million under, went back to the communities and said, hey, can you give us a funding source for it, which I believe at that time was like maybe $9 million for the city, or it was somewhere in that range. And when it came in, we just wanted to put the addition on because of the cafeteria, basically, because when you have cafeterias on the 3rd floor, it's hard to get the food up when the kitchens are on the 1st floor. So when they developed that piece, and right now, to expand that building, you'd have to, we just did the cafeteria, it seems like yesterday, but it was 10, 11 years ago. In order to bring in more students, you got to get a bigger cafeteria. Because it only seats, you got 500 and then you got 5 lunches, so it's packed.
How many students total together, Eric?
There's just over 2,300, like 2,320.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that's,
And when I was on the board, what was happening at the time is the goal was always 2,000. And So when you're on the board and you're looking at that number, so we would take in 500 a year. But what you were realizing is the trends were going, the first year you'd have 500, but by the time the freshmen ended up seniors, you would lose, say, 20. So the delta went down. So realistically, the number in the building was only like maybe 1,900. So you were losing 100. And there was a waiting list at that time of only maybe under 200. So I said to him, okay, if there's under 200 on the waiting list, why can't we increase the number coming in to say 550, and then that number would hold 2,000 across the board. If that happened, that was good. The problem is, we did that. The problem is the 550 never left. So it increased up, and the waiting list increased up, because like anything, if you bring in somebody and they like the product, they tell their friends.
Yeah.
And it just grows bigger. And I think that trade schools right now, it's just everything goes through a cycle. And I think that right now, trade schools, there's a lot of value. People
no
love them
doubt,
right now.
no doubt.
But when I was a kid, that wasn't
I
what
know.
people were saying.
You're absolutely right.
We could have walked in
Yeah.
on our day.
I know.
Yep. You very easily.
But
yeah.
I look at my grandson who, even though he's young, you can see he's geared towards construction type of things. And so I definitely try to move him in that direction. Because then you can move on anyway. Look at your kids. How many of them go to college or they get into a field and they get a degree in that field to expand it?
And they do something else. I'm talking
Yeah.
Trade, I think if I would have children, I would advise a trade. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
There's shortages in almost every field, in almost every sector, electrical and plumbing that I'm aware of. It pays a very good salary, livable wage to say the least.
Yeah.
And, it leads to a good quality of life. Absolutely.
I think that people don't understand college is really a trade school. And
Yeah.
people try to make it different, and they say it's academia. Well, it's really not. It's a trade school. Engineering is a trade. There's multiple disciplines to engineering, whether it's civil, whether it's environmental, whether it's plastics. So those are trades. Accounting is a trade. So we're teaching based off of how do you teach a trade into that setting, because realistically, when you get to college, you learn one discipline with some subsets. Yes, you have to take a English class, yes.
Don't major in lit
Yeah.
No.
unless you want to teach.
I mean, I do think
No.
the humanities are moving up. You're going to see the prices have to go up, as we talked about the homeless, as we talk about affordable housing. The humanities are going to see major value, but currently they don't see that value, because you basically have to have a master's degree or doctorate to get paid, say, $60,000 to $80,000. But I do think it's going to go up. I think there's, not enough value in it.
60, 80,000, are you talking about teacher?
No, for the social work and stuff like that. In the state, you'll see that it's like 60 to 80 with a master's or doctorate, not for.
Really?
But now you're
Teachers
talking
are-
6 years of school instead of
Yeah,
4.
yeah, and you're
That's an awful
talking
low
$200,000 to get there.
Right. Yeah.
That's an awful low salary for a doctor.
Not in that trade.
Really?
If
Well, the
if
I'm
kids,
shocked
what these
at that.
kids should do, I remember my
psychiatrists, psychologists, you can
my
see that.
brother-in-law, he wanted to go to college and become a physical therapist. And I says to him, I looked up what a physical therapist made, and at the time was $15,000 a year. I says, well, I know that's what you really want to do, but you'll never own a new car, you'll never own your own home, and you won't be able to, your kids will have to go to public school. Those are the three things you have to realize right at the top. And he changed his course because he knew his potential income wasn't enough to give him the lifestyle that he wanted
Has
to have
society
as an
changed
adult.
in that area for the physical therapist? I don't know, because sometimes you go
I
into the
don't,
time.
I don't know what
and
they
think
pay
it's-
him now, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it wasn't. It was
Back
way
then.
too low. And what I'm telling you right now, whoever's going to that field, it's just you're never
That-
going to own a new car.
Yeah.
You're never going to own a house. If you're
Hopefully-
making 50 grand, I'm making 50 grand a year. You're never going to own a house.
That's right.
No, not 50,000, not a lot of money today. Right.
Well, that's what we're talking about today, and it was and so far as the kids are concerned, I'm demanding more and more of the school committee people that make time to come over and visit us. They need to teach personal finance in every grade.
How to balance a checkbook, for instance, yeah?
So
How
they
to save money.
They do
Yeah.
that at grade a little, but it's within their math classes. So they give the word problems that balance
They
out.
need to blow it out
and
there.
They teach.
They
Yeah.
need to blow it out there.
Yeah.
Money is
Basic.
not important. It's just right up there with oxygen.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, You have to love what you do also, or you're going to be miserable at the same time. You can have the nice brand new Cadillac and be miserable.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to find that balance.
No, you won't.
I can name a lot of people who are.
Look at Corey's putting around brand new Lincoln. How unhappy does he look? He looks pretty good for himself.
Yeah, I
And you didn't bring your drag race car this morning, Eric, either.
I don't have it anymore. I sold it. I bought a truck, and I'm going to do that to it. So I'm in the middle of like having the kids build a truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I ordered it back in June. I ordered a regular pickup truck, but it has a modified motor in it from Ford. And I'm going to have the kids lower it and put the wheels on and do the whole setup to this truck. And they're more so down in Texas. They're starting to move this way, this type of truck. But the kids love these things.
You know
and I
the
was
snow
like,
gets deep, right?
It's four-wheel drive.
You know the snow gets deep. If it's low to the ground,
No. John, you know your truck. If you lower it 3 to 5 inches, it's still high. It's higher than my SUV.
Well,
There's
maybe
also-
then I could get in it.
I have a friend
Yeah.
of mine that has a hearse.
Yeah.
It's out in California. That he's got a hobby, plays with the thing, and the car will actually jump off the ground. He's got those hydraulics in it. So if the kids are going to do that, you should be able to hit a button where the car will go up 4 inches in snow.
I don't know about your friends, McD.
That's not my style,
Some
but
wild and crazy guys out in California.
Well, trucks are so expensive.
this one wasn't because it's just a base
Yeah.
model, so
No,
it's an
but-
XL, so it's a base model. It's still expensive.
Oh, I mean, kids my son's age, they're all driving trucks.
The kids are now coming into the parking lot with some really nice trucks.
Yeah, but they're like 50 grand.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's bizarre to me. I can't even wrap my head
Well,
around it.
if the dealer will get a loan for them, they can pay for that truck for 7 years. They don't realize, oh, it's only $400 a month, Ma, for 7 years.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I leased it.
I guess my end to the whole thing is if you're going out to buy a vehicle, make sure what it's worth after the 4 years.
Yeah.
And you're not just throwing your money out. If you're putting away $400 and your return is you get an equity of 3, then you did a pretty good deal if you got to drive it.
Yeah.
And I think the kids have to understand that piece, like John says about personal finance and checks and stuff like that. When the kids come to work for me in the summertime and even after school, we sit down and go over money and we teach them about percentages. Would you loan out $1 if you're getting 5% back? And they're like, that's 5 cents. Why would I give someone $1? And I'm like, see, you just missed everything in that conversation. So I think that, when you, those are challenges that, like John brings up with the education system.
It is. It is. Education is a whole different thing, right? We won't even bother with that. I want to talk, the next hour I want to talk to, I know you went to Canada about
Yes.
the homeless issue, so I want to touch on that a little later.
Well, on the homeless, well, I have both you characters over there. Thank you for the successful move we had with recently with the homeless in our community, particularly with the South Common. And I joked around with Eric before the joke starts, like a life preserver for the Titanic, but because it took years to do. But the reason it took years was the federal government. We were afraid we'd have to pay each one of them. We kicked off the Common $1 million apiece. But now the law has been solidified.
Yes, the Grants Pass case, I think it is, on a federal level.
So I'm happy that the federal government went the way they went with the Supreme Court. That it allowed us to clear the Common. And I still won't forget, really too soon, the herding we had by administration to send everybody to the South Common. Why are they on the South Common? Because that's where the cops told them to go. They were herded here.
Oh, my God.
That's the term they used.
Really?
Really.
Okay. I didn't hear that, but
When we
they were conjugating there. I will agree with you there.
Ask your police chief.
When we look at this whole process in our state, Lowell wanted to be the leader in the process. And I think we were one because of my colleagues, and we all just spoke and said, okay, how do we put together an ordinance that's going to help? But as we did, you noticed, ours was pushed back 2 weeks because I asked for more language with Councilor Belanger and Councilor
Yep.
Robinson and the whole council, stronger language around schools
Absolutely.
to be put in it.
Absolutely.
So it was pushed off 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then you saw when we were voting that night that Lawrence just is putting one in, and Worcester, and all of them were coming up at the same time
Yeah.
as us.
Following suit,
They were
Councilor, yeah.
following us, and we wanted to really say, look, you know what? I don't have a problem with homeless people. I have a problem with people doing prostitution around schools, drug use around schools, going to the bathroom around schools, and just making that environment tough for kids to walk there and parents to go there. And so I think that was the start, and I'm hoping that the governor, through her now she has a policy that's going to be in place, is going to move people out of the ICC because they're no longer willing to pay for, the hotels anymore. So they're going to start to...
$1 billion a year, that's not sustainable, right?
Right, and they're going to start to move them out.
Yep.
So now's the time for the council, and I had filed a motion for next week to say, look, what is our plan? Are we going to come and try to make a social service network? Can we use that as a building for social services to try to help people who have mental illness? Can there
That's
be
a good
rooms
idea.
there to do something like that? Because I sent you a link just yesterday, I believe it was, John, about right to feel in the New York policy when they did that back in the 90s and how it took place and how they just basically, somebody went to the United States courts and ended up saying, you have no right putting mentally ill people in an area, into a building. So they just said, okay, everybody, goodbye. And they gave them, an apartment here, an apartment there, but it didn't have any social services to help them.
They needed managed care.
Yes.
So there you go. Yeah, that's
We
basically
took
what
away
it
the
said.
management.
And they threw it out without that.
But I will also tell you, in Massachusetts, whether you've heard this story or not, I was a kid, probably like 13 years old. My uncle, somebody had passed away down at Worcester State Hospital. So my Uncle Eddie says, come on, kid, you'll go for the ride. So I go down there. And he says, come on, we'll bring you inside. I'll show you how it works. Walking down this hallway, and it's these government hospitals, they all have these long, long corridors underground. There's a guy naked, chained to a wall, screaming his head off. And my uncle said, I should have left her in the car, kid. You shouldn't have saw this. And that's and that was a state institution.
Well, that's what they were.
Back in the 60s,
But it's
wasn't a-
changed, as Eric said.
Yeah, I think that's
Mental
ingrained,
health has
in our
changed.
minds, and that's why we don't want to go to it. But I think that when that policy was put in place, the right to feel, when you look at that policy versus today and the gains we've had in social services and mental health care and all of that stuff, I think we made a major mistake because middle management like the city, it just fails. And cockroaches and bed bugs and stuff like that, there's no need. When somebody sees that from within, they need to get over there and take care of it. But we didn't, we just let it fester and fester. And when you look at the mental health end, I think we've made major gains from the 1990s to 2024. And I think we have a better grasp
the
of what we're
government
doing.
is not going to
Wait a
settle this
minute,
matter.
it's up to the state to care for
Exactly.
the mentally ill. We don't have a budget
Right.
to care. Not saying we shouldn't do things to help. As far as gains made since the 80s and 90s when we closed mental health institutions, Councilor, they're all on the street now. Not one but two generations that need help, freelancing on the streets such as South Common. So when it comes to an institution for them, I would have, instead of the ICC, let's hypothetical say, the migrants will be out and housed by the end of 2025. Let's just hypothetical. I mean, we have an issue called economic development to worry about too. I'd like to see that hotel back online. We have the Golden Gloves, the Nationals coming in 2027. If they have to be housed, shack up in Tewksbury, they're going to bus right to Lowell, go to the auditorium for the fights, get right back on the bus, go back to Tewksbury and spend their money there, as well as the auditorium. They're screaming bloody murder. They need, it's hurting their tourism. So, I have in mind Tewksbury State Hospital. That's why I made the motion, a few weeks ago. This is a mental health institution. This is what it was created for. This is what it should be used for. So there's nowhere for them to go. It's not right, and the state needs to step up. We don't have a budget.
Respectfully, okay? We got Tufts in Lowell, okay? They run
Yep.
St. John's and they run Lowell
Right.
General. We have to get out of the business of taking care of every little problem. We have professional medical people, Tufts. I'd lean on Tufts. Tell Tufts, look, you got St. John's Nursing School right over on Stackpole Street, bordered by the river. Right across the street's the hospital. It's not a neighborhood. It's very close to industrial, medically industrial use. We should lean on Tufts, tell them, create a center right within that building. It's facilitized properly. I don't know if it has an elevator or not, but I don't know what the building's doing, but it certainly has enough bathrooms to house a bunch of people who have mental illness. And take away their EBT card, use those funds to take care of their mental illness, and put them on a better track. And for the government to get into the business, all that means is we're going to hire more of our friends to goof it up again. I'd like to listen to your thoughts.
I don't think you're wrong that, you should privatize some things out, but there has to be some kind of platform that they have to meet. At the end of the day, Tewksbury State Hospital has the land to do it, but you're talking infrastructure. So if you go out there today and you take a tour, and I was out there not that long ago because I have a friend who does work out there.
How you like those speed bumps?
It's
Very
just
effective speed bumps
but
out
they're,
there.
they're huge, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at the infrastructure in the building, it has not been taken care of since 1960.
That's true.
So the infrastructure demand out there, whether Tewksbury, Lowell, wherever, to fix that is going to take a huge capital improvement, and it'd be like 10 years before they even get to that piece. Now, going back to the ICC is that if we don't do something right away, they're just going to congregate down here because we have a social service network built in the downtown. The reason why they're over there is go look at the Elliott Church. It's a complete disaster.
The ICC.
And
With
that's
Trump-
the challenge. I don't disagree with Councilor
Trump coming
Belanger.
in, Eric, with Trump coming in, the ICC people are biting their fingernails. Because
I don't know.
we flew those people up here. They walked right through customs. They walked right through immigration. How did that happen? There's a lot of cracks in the fact that those people came from South America. We flew them up here. No one knows who paid for it. Well, I know who paid for it. We did. They had some kind of grant that paid for those planes. And how they walked through customs, how they walked through immigration is a disgrace. And I think once Trump gets rocking and rolling, these people might be moved back home.
I think we're
I'm
putting
not
too
sure
many
with-
dreams on one person.
Not with
Yeah.
this governor who says she's trying to fight him tooth and nail.
Even then, I don't see it happen in Florida. I won't see that happen. You're putting way too much on one person. Congress and the Senate run this country. The president doesn't. As much as he likes his big ego and everything that goes along with it,
But it's a
he doesn't
Republican
run
Congress.
And again, they fight with each other. And they were never big Trump supporters. They just knew they could win.
Can I go back to what John was saying about Tufts? Because it's always been with the hospital, nonprofit, gives nothing back to the community, really. Why couldn't you lean on them and make this sort of an in-kind, why can't you say, look, you owe this community something, you're making a fortune?
It's every gateway city that's going through the same problems as us.
Yeah, and these
Yeah, the
hospitals,
services, yeah.
and are making
No, I would.
the administrators.
I look at it as an
long-term-
opportunity. Here's an opportunity for you. The state will pay you to take these people in a better direction, professionally. Instead of us hiring everybody who works for the state, God bless them, they get a fantastic pension for the rest of their life. That's very costly. It's cheaper to let's just give let Tufts do it. It's just cheaper.
I've seen both ends of that stick when you contract things out. Like, you could take the water department, for instance. Whenever we contracted something out, it never really meets our demands if we have good employees to do our end. So there is a balance between the two. I do think that you're not wrong about, the OPEB liabilities and stuff like that. And I do have a very good pension from doing it.
I'm not picking on you. I mean,
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. At the end of the day, when we look at this, we can go to Canada, Toronto. I went to Toronto a few years back. I met Mayor Ford. We were there for a DPW seminar, a whole week full, where we went through and how did they get to, well, nonprofits there pay taxes.
There it is.
Well, on property taxes, yeah.
They pay a tax.
Eric, you're not going to get it. Here, I have a good
No,
idea.
we're probably
what I'm
not,
saying
right.
Let's
is
give
once-
the government more money. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's give the government more
No,
money.
you're just making a
They
point.
break
It's not that.
I'm just
that's-
saying
yeah.
that when you look at some of the infrastructure that gets built there, now you're looking here and you're looking, Lowell can't afford to keep taxing. They can't tax their way out of this. As much as everybody thinks we can just tax our way out of it and create all of this bureaucracy, middle
That's what
management
it
is
is,
and that's what they're doing. They're just trying to tax your way out of it. If we can give people back their money, disposable income will come back to the city. But if you keep taking it and giving it to people in middle management and government, most of them don't even live in the city. They don't spend in the city. And they close their door at 4 o'clock and
We
they're gone from
export
the
our
city.
wealth. Here in Lowell, we export our wealth.
I mean, look at who's building all the properties. Are they really filtering into Lowell? You know, we have all these contractors that come in and we're on prevailing wage and we're on all these things. But do they come back and actually, is there a benefit to the city out of it?
The city
Yeah,
of Lowell
we-
is the largest employer in the city of Lowell.
No, it's City of Lowell is?
The
UMass
is it the
Lowell.
hospital?
UMass Lowell
yeah.
is.
The city of
UMass Lowell, the hospital, then the City of Lowell,
City of
McD. In that order.
Ask your manager how many employees we have, including the school department.
Oh, I thought,
Well, you know, we tried residency, you know,
it's
council, we've
2,100.
experienced with this over here, residency requirements for
think
police and
Lowell's the
fire.
largest employer.
It doesn't go over well, but I agree with what you're saying. I'd like to see this money stay in Lowell too, absolutely. It's just that, you know, for instance, people, you know, we got Small Business Saturday coming up, where we try and encourage people to spend local. People don't want to go downtown. I hear from my constituents all the time, because of the panhandling and this and that, and they don't want to go downtown, and that's heartbreaking. So that's part of the problem too. You know, we got to get people to shop local, spend local, and, you know, patronize local businesses like yours, McD.
Well,
I think one of the hard, and we
Thank
look
you.
at, as we increase taxes, we also increase the unaffordability of rents and everything else. And people are not looking at that pattern. 12% in water, 12% in sewer we went up. Then we went up 5.5%, 3.5%, 2.5% in property taxes.
Trash too.
Yeah, and the trash fee was
Yeah,
doubled.
yeah, I got
And
company calls
for
there.
people who are renting out things, it's 3 times the amount.
Yep.
So the problem comes down to, how do we're not making it any more affordable for renters or the people. If I own 5 houses, I am not going down on my profit. That's their living.
They got to pass that on to the
And they
rental.
pass it
Yeah,
on,
sure.
and
I
you're
understand
seeing
that.
people
That's-
struggle.
That's business, yeah.
And now they're coming back to government and saying, can we have a voucher to make up the difference between what you taxed me? So basically, I'm taxing you, you're getting a voucher of my tax money, and it's going like this back and forth. And that's the crazy part to think. We're running in a circle with tax money and creating, you know, infrastructure demands and everything else in between, and administrative costs that go into this. When you have administrative costs, everything goes up. So if Corey was a person renting and he needed assistance, I give him tax money. Then I increase the taxes and give him more tax money.
but
It just
we've
makes no
for
sense.
For the last at least 20 years, probably more, we've been educating people that you want the government to take care of you. Lean on the government. And we've created this problem.
I think that, you know, if you're going to try to solve a problem like this or dive into it really deep, I think you have to create job skills
Yeah.
and get jobs here. Job skills that actually can pay the bills, and not job skills just to go to like and I don't want to name an industry because it would really, it's not fair. But they're underpaying people while people are running away with large profits. But when you look at like, Verizon actually pays their employees and makes a lot of money on the backside. Comcast is killing people in the city. Because it's a sole source.
Yep.
And they're taking your money and running while they're running away with major profits.
Yeah.
Even though they're seeing, as their demand goes down,
Yeah,
for
they
the
are seeing a
service,
decline, yeah.
they're increasing the people who are left with them to pay, to make up still the same profit. So that's where the problem is. And until people say, look, you know what, and they're starting to, look, we've had enough. So you're going to watch some really
But-
big businesses fail.
But this thing is, with taxes, Eric, I don't deny, you know, 5.5%, 3.5%. I heard a
big
lot,
numbers.
as you, big numbers, I don't deny that. When I was on the council, we never went up, my previous tenure, 3.5% was the highest we ever
Yeah.
did. And that was the first year because Bernie Lynch went 2 years back-to-back, no tax increase, so it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it comes to property owners, Eric, there's a few variables here that are out of our control, out of the homeowners' control. I'm not defending them, I'm just making a point that insurances in the last 3 years have soared. Have anybody seen their auto insurance?
Yeah.
Has anybody take a look at their homeowner's insurance? And if you, God forbid, you've had a claim, you're going to be lucky to get reinsured. So
try to
insurances
collect.
have soared. Energy costs the last 3-4 years have soared. If you include rent or any kind of rent to heat in your rent, you're going to have to go up. There's no doubt about it. So that's on that side, you know, and on the city side of things, and when I mentioned insurances, healthcare. Healthcare has soared. So there's, although we try, and Councilor Gitschier is a
We've
tremendous
mitigated.
leader on this, of holding the line. We always try and hold the line on taxes. But there are costs out of our control. healthcare, when I get back to insurances, healthcare has, last 3-4 years, again, gone up exponentially. Energy costs, salaries, we very often say Lowell employees are underpaid. So they go up on average, Councilor, 3% a year, per se, on average? I'm not, you gotta say no to that? I know I'm not. They're underpaid as it is. We value them. We need to keep them. So salaries go up every year. So these are fixed costs that we have to meet every year. So if we want to have no increase, tax increase per year, much as I'd love to do it, it's going to catch up with us year 2 or 3.
I think we have dived into that. We created a sustainability department where we've seen record savings of millions of dollars in that area, and we're pushing that out. And I think that's how we got to look at the whole pie. We created over 30 jobs out of opera that we can't afford right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how are we going to maintain that piece? So, and then when we look at the healthcare, yes, it went up because we have more jobs, but realistically, the management team and the CFO have done an amazing job at holding the line on healthcare. It hasn't gone up as much as the private industry. When you look at the numbers, you're like, wow, look at this. Okay, we probably went to more of a conservative healthcare system on the employees back years ago. But we're seeing some energy cost. We can control some of that, and we have with Catherine Moses and Victor in the sustainability department that we created, looking at, okay, do we have motion detectors in some of the rooms? Are the windows being left open in these? See, the divide a lot in the city is schools and city.
Yeah.
Yes, we own the building, we pay for the heat, and we pay all these things. What is the advantage of having them closing the windows?
Yeah.
Zero. They're the ones who control the custodians. The school does, not the city. What is the advantage of having a custodian close a window? They don't need to close a window. Why would they? It has zero effect on their position. And that's why our buildings falter, is because we need to create a department that's a facilities department that manages our buildings and makes sure that the lights are this way, the heat's this way. If we're going to keep costs down for the resident and give it back to them, those are ways to push back against it. The water department hasn't had one cut, but yet has to hire $600,000 in a contractor because people won't come in on overtime.
Yes, they charge
So
huge money.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if they can't do their job, then we need to move on. We can no longer afford them. And that's where the problem is. So there are areas in the budget that can actually be challenged and say, okay, maybe we don't have to make the full cut, but we got to start looking at it and making those movements towards that direction, because we can't afford to leave the windows open any longer.
Yeah.
We can no longer afford to hire a contractor and have a person on full staff like we had in the early 90s and mid 2000s. We have the same number of staff. We had no contractors hired. Today, we do all contracting out. Go look at the fire hydrants on Andover Street. They all have tags on them out of order, or this or that, or there's a quarry out there that's from 1910. Should have been changed. The one on Middlesex Street in front of St. Hilaire's has been out of order for 4 months. Never happened. Never. And in order to replace them, they want contractors to do it so that they...
Yeah.
And nothing against any employees or anything. I call it a middle management failure. And Councilor Robinson Councilor Belanger will probably agree or disagree, but sometimes as a manager of a different department, you're told who you have to take, and going in, they just can't do that job. So now that gives you one less person to do the job, but you still have the same staffing because they're being paid. And it's a very hard thing to manage. If I know so-and-so's person comes in and I can't manage them, I'm the failure at the top. I'm the only person that they can get rid of because people are not doing their job and writing people up and doing things. So those are the challenges that come in, and you say efficiency starts at middle management. And the upper management has to toe the line when someone says, look.
So Eric, you're telling me we have to keep a person working for the city of Lowell who doesn't have a spirit to work?
I'm saying to you that some people are put in positions to fail. That they're given a job because they want a job.
I hear problems all day long. So do you have a solution for this issue?
Yeah, the hiring process has to be given to the middle managers and say, look, but then again, they're hired and held responsible by the upper.
How many city councilors, relatives, got jobs since they got
I don't think there's
elected?
any. I don't think there's any.
We're in a
I
city.
can't name one.
We're in a city that that's what happens. We hire our friends to do a job.
John, I
look
have
at-
no problem with someone hiring their friend to get a job as long as the friend can do the job. If the friend can't do the job, how do I
Sounds to
hold
me
them
as if-
responsible when I
sounds to me
know
as
who
if
their friend is?
We've hired some people who don't know what they're
You
doing.
want to hire from within, preferably, and hire local, preferably.
I want Lowellians hired.
Now, no, absolutely.
So
Now-
they're going to be friends of somebody. And, oh, it's a parochial
Well, as long as
city.
they're qualified, I agree with Councilor
It's a
Gitschier.
parochial
They better
city.
be qualified. I mean, look at Eric, he makes a good point. We had a pipe burst at Belvedere, okay? It was Columbus Day weekend. It was Monday, Columbus Day weekend. We got a text from the manager. I immediately go on site. So I wanted to thank the crews, Joan. But there was no, like Eric's point, 2 city workers and a private crew. I'm like, so that's to his point. We're paying a ton of money to the private sector to take care of these things now. But Eric, my question to you is, okay, you want good, sound middle management. I can't argue that, but how does that fix the problem with these, if they don't come in for overtime, how does it fix that to make them come in so we don't have to hire these private contractors?
So there's a provision in every contract that says if it's an emergency, you're forced to come to work.
Okay.
We haven't put that in place. Mariposa
okay.
Street.
So I know you're very
Yeah.
good with this stuff.
So Mariposa Street, there was a leak. It was on a Friday. They went out, they shut off the water main without even telling anybody. And then Saturday, one of the people over there called me and said, Eric, are they going to put our water back on? And so I went over. I'm like, they did what? So they shut off. They didn't call in a contractor. The plans were coming back Monday, and there was no water, no fire protection, anything. There's a breakdown, and I'm only using them as an example. It's not really fair to pick on one department like this, but when you look at it, I managed that place. We didn't call in contractors except on the boulevard when there was a mistake on a markout
Yeah, I
and
don't
they
recall
drilled
to
through
this
the
level, yeah.
36. I would go out and work. So I would put on my boots and say, all right, if I can't get the 5th guy, I'm coming to work. I know how to do the job. So, and then once they see you get engaged, they get engaged.
Of course.
And that's the
I
whole
ended up
thing.
getting, for the 2 city workers, I got nothing but an earful, how short-handed we were. I'm like, where is everybody? I mean, I came there to thank the city crews. There was only 2 of them. I'm
So
not there to
Corey,
thank
do
a
you know
private.
in the past, it only took 5 people to do that job, so 2 of them were already there. So you're paying
there was
for
about
even
7
2.
or 8 on the
And
other.
then there's 8 on the other.
There was
right.
8 on the other side, yeah.
Right,
easily,
which is tough to do, and you're looking, saying, okay, so I think you have to, there's a pride aspect to all of this. So if you called me and asked for a job for so-and-so, and you said they were this, okay, we hire the person. You know who the first call at 2 in the morning would be if the person didn't show up? I would be calling you
Yeah.
and saying, you told me to hire this person, now they don't want to do
Eric,
anything.
it
I wouldn't
sounds
blame
to
you.
me-
I wouldn't blame you.
And you and I have had that conversation.
Right, yeah.
I said, can
we
you
bet.
help me?
Right.
This
right.
comment from the audience, hiring your friends sounds like the MBTA. It sounds like the whole state. The whole state
Well,
does that stuff.
Well, of course.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
like I have friends in the industry because what happened is when you work in the industry, you go off to all of these presentations and everything. You go off for career stuff and you meet people, you become friends. And then when a job opens up, you say, wow, you know, I met Corey. Corey
Yep.
works for Chelmsford. He gets this. Let me call Corey, see if he wants the job. And then I know his work, what he can do. And that's the challenge. You can't take somebody from, say, a chef at one of the restaurants and say, tomorrow you can come out and be a water service technician. You can if you have
Yeah.
4 strong employees. If I have 4 strong employees who can train you in
Right.
and you have that aptitude to learn, I can do it. But if I have people who are like that in between, I can't do that. I need a strong leader.
Okay,
Okay, so the inclusion there for mandatory overtime, so that's not in place right now, Councilor, is that what you're telling me?
It hadn't been put in place, and
Okay, well, if I would agree with your good middle management, but I'd like to see, which way are we going here? Are we going to privatize this stuff, or are we going to use city workers? We got to figure out a direction where we're going here.
Okay, you've got a Voc school, and
Yep.
we're dealing with the water department right now. You've got a Voc school, you're training people. Do you have does the city have a relationship with the schools? Say, you need employees, whether they're electricians or plumbers or whatever. The city needs good ones in the school. They need them in the water department. Wouldn't it be your view to come up with a relationship with the Voc to say, here's a, even on, you know.
Apprenticeship program
that's
of
right.
some sort, yeah.
They
Or
do,
just
they do.
funnel some of these talented people
They do.
to the city.
They do. There's one working as a mechanic in the police department currently. My
Okay.
wife is a product of that, so she went out on co-op
Yeah.
and started on the city, and
Okay.
that's how she ended up where she is.
Oh, okay.
Now, she's been there since she was a junior in high school.
Okay.
So there is that workability. I've asked the manager a couple times to look into that, and he has, and it's a little bit tougher right now because they work 1 week on and 1 week off.
Right.
So you'd have to have 2 students to cover the full load, and they're never going to allow them out in the water streets to
Okay,
dig.
I got that. But what about
because of OSHA.
when they get out of school, they graduate, they're going to private companies to become, why wouldn't you want to recruit the city? Have a path for them to come, because you've got better
Linda, the word is retain.
benefits. Huh?
Retain is the word.
Yeah,
Retention,
you've
yeah.
got
Right,
better
yeah.
benefits. You can offer
Yeah.
them. It's wonderful to go out for a splash. It's like in the olden days when the construction workers would go and they'd make a fortune in the summer, and then they're struggling in the winter. But here you have good benefits.
John brings up a very interesting thing when he says about my benefits. When I was a kid coming out of high school, I graduated on a Friday and went to work for the city on a Monday. I knew nothing about benefits. I didn't care about that. I just needed a paycheck,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
absolutely,
And
yeah.
even all the way through, I'd never really thought much about it until now.
Yeah.
Now I think, wow, that was a genius move.
Yeah.
Even though I had
The
no
stability.
thought
Yeah,
I didn't think
process.
at the time,
Kids
right.
don't think like that.
No,
They think,
right.
okay,
Right.
here we are. And I was very lucky at the time. I had strong middle management, upper management. One of them was Tom Golden's dad.
Yep.
You want to see a strong, but you did not play around with him. If he told you to move this way, you moved it that way. And it was fair. It was, hey, what do you, Huey McKenna, Jerry Dunn. You know, when you look around, Donald Doubleday, there were strong personalities. Eddie Walsh, strong personality.
Ready?
They were, you did this,
Yep.
do this, because you were in fear that I needed my check. I didn't want to disappoint
Yeah,
Corey. I
right.
didn't want to disappoint
Right,
Linda.
right,
I wanted to.
absolutely, yep.
Today, it's a society, it's across the board where almost everything's somewhat acceptable the first time through. And then now you got to
Well,
manage
nobody's
down.
accountable.
I don't know if it's accountable or if it's the way we,
Work ethic, perhaps,
Yeah,
Councilor?
I
Is
don't-
not
I don't
To
know.
our generation, yeah.
like
So
I
it's
wanted
not
to go to
matched.
Canada with them, but I knew I had building projects that I have to stay involved with, and that's why I got to leave at 7. I have to get back there. But, you know, that's just who we were at the time. Today, I think these kids really do want it. We have a great relationship at Greater Lowell with the Career Center.
Linda,
for the
this is
youth.
from Corey Robinson. Could you read this, please?
There has to be a system where expectations and accountability are baked into the function. People have to understand what they are responsible for and held to that standard. Councilor Gitschier understands intimately the problems within the organization. The challenge is getting support for the proposed solutions due to personal relationships.
Yep.
I think
would
one way to hold people accountable that I've found over my years
Thank you,
Thanks,
Corey.
Corey.
is have performance evaluations once a year, and intermediate evaluations at the same time. If Corey does a good job on this, I say, Corey, that's a great job. Boom, boom, boom. I write myself a note, and then when I do a performance evaluation on Corey, I say, remember on January 6th when you did this? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm not happy that you come in 3 times late on this week or that or this or that. We need to work on this. We need to go this direction. And there's a lot of value in doing performance evaluations. We don't do that.
No.
Do you train the middle management to do that?
They don't, they will tell you they don't have time. But, you know, again, we
It
have,
should be mandated because it's so important.
Well,
is.
I would agree with the texter. If I can just chime in, you know, Councilor Gitschier has institutional knowledge when it comes to this. You know, when it comes to this department, different departments, especially the water department, I'm going to lean on, I'm going to listen to him.
Yes, that's
To his
Corey.
guy. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know everything. He knows more than me in this regard. I may agree or disagree which way privatization, whatever it may be, but I'm certainly going to listen to him. You know, he
the
has
last
great
thing you
knowledge.
want to see is privatization.
Okay. all right.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
one of the first things is, you know.
I'd rather not.
I would rather not.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. I believe that, you know, it gave me an opportunity and I worked. I think accountability is more important than privatization.
Okay.
If we can hold people accountable and the job is needed, then we will see success in that area. When you privatize something out, you have to remember you're paying prevailing wage.
Okay.
We don't pay prevailing wage, even with benefits, we don't hit prevailing wage. So we don't even come close. And there's a major savings there to have somebody on site. If Corey's over in Belvedere and there's a leak in somebody's house in the Highlands, and he works for me, I can pick up the radio and say, hey, Corey, can you drop what you're doing right now and please run across the city and help this person and come back? I'll get it right now. If I have to do it the other way, I have to call a contractor. I have to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm in Weston, Mass. I won't get there for 2 hours. So there's a major benefit for keeping people employed. Now, how we go about getting efficiencies is a whole different discussion. Privatization isn't even on my table. It's not a train of thought. I'm an inside person. This council is very unique because you have Corey works for the state. You got Kim Scott who works for a municipality.
Yep.
You got Corey Robinson, myself, Vesna, Danny. We all have something that we bring to the table that understands the function of government.
Yep.
Where it's not just someone from the outside saying this or that. Now, how we get to that middle point is always the challenge. You push and pull, and people, it gets
Rita in
emotional.
that. She's
Oh, yeah,
there
Rita
as
too.
well.
Rita also.
And you forget Rita.
So there's probably,
How could you?
there's what, 8 out of 11?
Yeah.
Right? So when you look at that and you got push and pull and everything moving, I think that we have an opportunity here to make some really, really good
Yeah.
changes. And I think we have. I believe we have. When you look at our road infrastructure, you start looking at, we just made an investment last night into the affordable housing trust funds. We've built and we're moving. Is it going to be as fast as what people think? No. The pothole on your road is not going to be that. It depends on where you lie in the priority list. Stephen Street is going to be before one of the side dead-end roads. Andover Street's going to be before some of these are all gateway arteries to our city that brings in attention to our city. Do we need to do better on line striping? Absolutely. Springtime line striping. Springtime should be clean up all your main arteries, get all your ball fields ready. It should be, wow, look at what this place looks like. Not wait until Councilor Belanger comes in and says, hey, can we get this one road over here done? And then it just filters into 8 councilors saying the same thing about their areas.
Okay.
This should be proactive rather than reactive strategy, and we have pushed that. We're looking at a 3-year contract for line striping that we pushed to the manager, and now the contract is on-site, boom, can be done. Line striping is something we have to contract because we don't have that equipment, we don't have the ability to do that once a year, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, one of the issues with government, particularly in a city government, is you constantly are going through managers, and I think a 5-year contract to me was a good idea. We need to have some consistency there, but I also think but you need some PR somewhere in the city to explain to the public that this takes time.
You know what the greatest PR is? When you drive down the road and you look to the side and you go, wow.
Yeah.
The streetlights are up, this is done, that
Yes, I
looks
agree
nice.
with you, but no, unless, and they start to take that for granted, though.
But that's good.
No, they need to
I'm worried about the
understand.
visitor.
Well, I'm
As well as it.
but the
People
visitor-
coming off, you're like, wow,
Didn't even think
you're
of that.
going to UMass Lowell and you're coming off the Thorndike, and you're like, wow, look at this.
No, the voter,
wanna
not the
invest.
visitor, Eric, I know where you're going with
Gateways or
that.
whatnot.
But the voter are the ones that are gonna re-elect you, and they need to understand what direction you're going in and keep it consistent. I love the diverse council. I think I have been I was against it, and yet I've found that this has been a really good thing for the city.
Yes.
Now, the voters need to understand, but it's a process, and it's not done in 5 seconds, and it's not done, and if we are gonna hire within and hire local, and then it's gonna be, as John says, our friends, then we need to have the middle management and mandate middle management understand what they need to do to make this work. All of you together. I think the council's working together. I just don't know if the middle management and the management are working together.
I got some text here from our audience. I got 3. Biggest challenge in the city is Wayne Janess. Don't pick on Wayne, he's not here.
Okay.
Corey Robinson sends this in.
Run.
He said, you also lose local control with outsourcing.
Okay, good point, Councilor.
And
Thank you.
the last one is from a person by the name of Jay. I asked Councilor Mercier, which she couldn't answer. Where are the granite structures that used to be in the Pawtucket Canal on Central Street? Well, I would ask our viewer, what would you like us, when we find them, what do you want us to do with them? Those are the,
Where would they be?
remember those ugly things that were in the canal?
Yes.
Maybe he wants to put them on
So,
eBay.
so just
Maybe we want to know that they're gone. I
Just to
don't know.
go back to the hiring process, the hiring process is not as simplified as what we just tried to make it. When we say hire local, hire this, hire that. Now, when you go in as a manager, you're looking at outcomes that you want to see. You don't know the complexity of the position that you're trying to go out for job descriptions for. You don't know what is the need. And then when you get all these applications in, I've never separated them by where somebody lives. I've always looked, okay, how does this person fit? Most times when I look at it, if it's an entry-level position, I always like to look at the longevity of the person in the job prior to applying for this. If somebody's been at 7 jobs in 7 years, you are like over there, because I do not like the hiring process. I don't like when someone leaves. I don't like hiring people because there's always those unknowns in between, and it's hard to pick between 20 people or 40 people. It's very subjective, and it gets really personal with some people because you make one happy and 19 are like, I hate this person. But when you look, what is the outcome you want? And then you sit down. There are some times, and people in government will never admit this, that you need a female. There are sometimes you need a male. There are sometimes you need diversity. There's sometimes you don't. There's sometimes I need a Spanish-speaking person. There's sometimes I need... So there's just different ways of looking at it. You can't say that in public. You're not going to go out and say, this pile, I'm doing this. But if I have to clean the girls' locker room and I have no other one, and I need to hire for the girls' locker room, it's a no-brainer. I need a female. But you can't come out and say that in the hiring process. And if
how
the female
bizarre
is
we
in
are.
Chelmsford and there's all males in Lowell, you got a Chelmsford
How about a
employee.
transgender person?
That could also filter into play. So
Welcome to Massachusetts.
I think welcome to the world. Welcome to the world. But again, when you look at the hiring process, it's not as simplified as I want a local person, because the local person could be the biggest headache you'll ever take on, and you don't. So there's a balance. If somebody like, say, Councilor Belanger and I are close, and he says, Eric, this guy's a really, really hard worker, boom, 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 and he's a hard worker himself, I'm like, okay, let's look harder at this and see if this works, and see if I can train this person into this position, because a lot of times you can't do that, because water departments, hydraulics licenses, CDL licenses, water licenses, knowledge of the city ordinances on how to build people. There's a lot of things that come into play that are not as simple as, if I have a strong person that they work with, I am in it training somebody.
Hey, time is short. I'm going to read
And
this
hope the
text quick.
personalities come together.
About the stuff that come out of
Oh,
the
you
canal.
gotta go.
And the stuff that, he says, I'm concerned because I'm pretty sure the things in the canal weren't free. I understand your comments, sir. Thank you for chiming in. Time is short. Eric, you're going to leave at 7 because you got to go to real work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the challenges that a lot of people who don't do hiring processes don't get to see. And sometimes you can even upset a person who will call, say another person calls you and says, hey, can you give this person a job? And then when you go through the application, I'll give you an interview. I'll interview you, but I don't do the hiring. I
We'll be
don't
back
even
in
look at
15 seconds. Thanks.
welcome to City Life. I'm Linda Bown, I'm your host. I have Councilor Belanger just in from Toronto, and so I'm looking forward, because he went up on about the homeless issue.
Yep, but the Great White North, yes. This is more or less an economic development forum.
Okay.
And this is very exciting stuff.
All right.
I try and, share with my colleagues and my motions. Look, homelessness is a big issue in the city, but we've got a lot of other good things going on, and it's taking a lot of time, meaning.
Who went with you?
6 councilors and the mayor.
Okay.
Okay, so we had a good contingency, if you will.
And the administration?
Yep, the manager and DPD director, Giovanni
Oh,
Baez
okay.
Rose. Yeah,
The-
so we
all
had
the
a great
players were there. All right.
Absolutely, because it was that important.
Okay.
The mayor worked expressed to us, look, this is a very important initiative that could be transformed.
Okay,
And
tell
he
me
was-
about it.
And he wasn't kidding, so I must then commend Mayor Rourke for rooting. He went to a forum back in September and got this lead there. And I remember he told me about it, we're out, and he's like, you got
And
it.
I know they paid for it.
They did, yep.
That's there.
It was cleared by the Ethics Commission, State Ethics Commission too, so we're good. They
Yeah.
paid for the flight and hotels and whatnot, yes. So basically, 7 members of the council, Linda, were actually ambassadors from Lowell to the UN
Okay.
for 3 days. So this is a United Nations forum. It's called the Urban Pavilion, where they focus on community and localized communities and quality of life issues by making investments through economic development. So it was in the heart of the district, a 17-acre parcel of Toronto that was very blighted, which, it's funny, we made comparisons to the Hamilton Canal, which is about 16 acres, same thing, which is, we're struggling there, to put it mildly. But they made investments there to the tune of almost $1 billion in buildings and housing, an aquatic center, an indoor pool year-round.
Wow.
A community center, green space all over. It's really very impressive. We were able to walk it, walk the whole thing and see all the development. The amount of housing there is just phenomenal, really was. I'm talking 30-plus stories, building after building. So we, the council, are hoping to be the United States' first, it's called the front runner city by the United Nations.
That's exciting.
So it's very exciting, yeah. So they were very impressed to see all of us there practically, the interest that we shown. And so, good news, we are hoping to enter an agreement of some sort by the end of the year with them. So, and then hoping to be selected very shortly thereafter. So we could have some very good news in 2025 where, they focus on an international feel. Obviously, it's United Nations now,
Yeah.
right? So they want an international feel that with community provisions, they want a vast
What a
array
great
of
city
services.
for an international feel.
It really is, yeah. And we told them,
Very diversified.
The first day, they know what best practices, okay, this is sustainability, culture, diversity, we're like, check, Lowell checked all the boxes, what
Yeah.
we're doing and what's in motion. So we're like, we got this. We
Yeah, you
told
do.
them, like, look, we're your city. You want to do this, let's go.
I think that is
It
awesome.
was really phenomenal. We're a perfect fit for what they want to do. We showed to them we have the drive and the desire to do this as well. So very exciting stuff. I'm not even kidding.
No, because if you tie this into what's going
Yeah.
on with the university.
Yes.
And that project over there by the Lowell State.
Yep. The link project with the university.
And the jam plan may really,
Yeah.
you're a victim of the jam plan.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
I remember way back.
Yep.
It seemed like years, that was.
It's been years, yeah.
John
Jam plan's
Crot's days.
25 years old, yeah, and I bought Majors in 1999 on Jackson Street, saying this area is going to erupt. Well, here we are
Still
25
waiting.
years, and I'm still, a lot's been done now on Jackson Street.
No, but
those mills,
you
lots been
still
done.
have a lot of things that you
Yeah.
can do there.
Oh, absolutely.
The resource there.
Yes, yep. Like the Hamilton Canal, now we have 2 parking garages, right? One city-owned and one privately owned. but
Let's get
no-
something
but-
for the
But no
pri-
buildings.
That's right.
Right, yeah. So it's a problem. So I'm trying to work very hard I'm a district council, Linda. You
Yeah.
got to focus on the local issues.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Answer the constituents in a very
Oh,
timely
but there's
fashion.
going to be, even your local, your residents are pretty savvy. They're going to know that this is going to help everybody.
Very engaged. And I love it. I'm getting a lot of calls. It's busy. They really keep me, back to this
Who would've
district
thought?
council thing, I never would have thought, yeah, that's, I know citywide. Now, if I had to be in Pawtucketville at 5 o'clock after work, the traffic, now in Belvedere, I get an email in the morning, okay, sir, what can I do for you? Oh, I got a tree in my, okay, I'll be there at 4 o'clock. Boom, right over, same day.
Yeah.
So, your neighbors got one too, I'll go over there, do it too, I'll talk to them. So it's very manageable.
Yeah.
I enjoy it tremendously. I'm already convinced I'm running for re-election on a district level.
I love the district.
I do
As
too.
I say, I was
Very
against it originally.
I was too, because I'm like, it works, but.
Yeah, it does.
Now each of us can focus on, really focus on the district. We got great citywide councils too, like Councilor Gitschier, Mercia, Vesna Noon. But back to, so what I'm trying to focus on a citywide level, Linda, is economic development, okay? Because we just talked about the tax increases. We're all very concerned. And I mentioned the fixed costs that continue to go up that we have no control over. So how do we fix that? The only thing we can do to assist the homeowner in their taxes is create new tax growth to help ease the burden.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to put a focus on, many of my motions have to do with the Hamilton Canal. I stay on developers, stay active, stay proactive, along with even McD, where we sit right now, is on the fringes of the MBTA zone, community zone, overlay district,
Yeah.
where the state wants density in housing, okay? So, and no parking required, because the logic is the bus terminals there and the train stations there, right? So we need to create housing, and this is creating new neighborhoods. It doesn't mean we're encroaching on a Belvedere district or a South Lowell district.
Yeah.
We're not encroaching on any neighborhood. We're creating new neighborhoods here.
Yeah.
And new tax growth to assist the homeowner. So that's what I'm trying to really put a focus on a citywide level, to give the homeowner some relief.
Well, if you talk about an international, and the money that comes in with that, you could, the downtown is a perfect,
Yep.
that you could do. When
Absolutely,
you talk about the
Hamilton.
city.
Yep.
But let's just look at the buildings downtown. The whole second floor, third floor, not being used in.
Yeah,
in
we're
most
struggling there,
ci-
because
a lot of it's to do with, and Councilor Robinson advocates for this, I know he's viewing, I'm sure, is the elevator problem,
Absolutely.
So we need grants. So we're gonna, and they're expected to come in the winter, spring, these individuals are expected to come to Lowell,
Wow,
and, yeah,
that's
so, well,
exciting.
they're gonna wanna see, and we expect to roll it the right
Got a
time
lot to
before
work
the-
with.
We got a lot to work with. They're gonna tour all these districts, the potential, in 2025, we're gonna be, redoing our zoning citywide,
Yeah.
to create more builder-friendly. We're not going to touch, and I'm going to advocate strongly, the single-family neighborhoods are going to remain single-family, and, but however, wherever development can be had along our gateways, along transportation routes, we need to try and develop. So that's what I'm going to advocate for. I'm very pro-development, to a point now. So, we got to build that tax base, Linda. We have to. And we're all very concerned.
Can't keep going back to the well, and you know that.
I know that, yeah, we can't keep, 5.5%, then 3.5% back
Two
to
comments
back.
from the audience. The first one,
By all means, fire away.
are the Lowell City Council meetings carried live on YouTube? Yes, they are. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. I would insist, but LTC doesn't want to listen to anybody, that they put it on Facebook. They put it on Facebook Live as well.
Well, they just
Facebook
have
Live, okay,
Comcast, right?
yeah.
LTC?
Because
Yes,
people, they don't think, oh, it's Tuesday, it's 6:30, I'm going to go to YouTube. But they're playing on their phone with Facebook.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
if they
that's good.
see the feed, hey, City Council's on.
Right, yeah.
Because we get 39 viewers.
Just like City Life, right, Linda?
Yeah.
Because, just City Life alone, we get 39 viewers on YouTube.
Okay,
And we get 600 on Facebook.
excellent, that's a good number.
So,
And you
why
can
do we
gauge
get
it.
so many more viewers
I
on
like how you-
Facebook?
yeah.
People are playing with their phone.
That's
Yep.
right.
They're not, I'm going to go, it's 6:30.
We should promote that more, that's a great idea. Great,
They won't listen to me. Maybe
no,
they'll
that's
listen to
a
you.
great
Well,
idea.
that's another thing,
Because the
and-
cost of
It's
cable is soaring, and another cost out of our control is soaring.
Question for you.
and that's how.
Question for you, Corey. A question for Mr. Belanger. Why is the registered motor vehicles leaving Middlesex?
Have you been there?
Very depressing. Yes, we've been told that the registry location there is no longer suitable, which we don't understand. We've all questioned where most of it's done online. How come this is not suitable? And they came back to us with the same answer, literally. So we're trying to find other locations for them. working with them now and to keep it in the city, and hopefully we can. Believe me, we cherish it, we
I think
value
they're going
it.
up the Target Plaza.
That's what I thought.
That's where they were. Well, that's being proposed, so we'll see. We'll see.
And
What-
because I was told by a registry employee, the reason they leave it is the harassment in the garage. Customers,
Probably.
employees get harassed.
That's not
in the
something they're
garage.
gonna transmit to the city, I don't think. You know.
Yeah.
But,
Well, the
yeah. it wouldn't
sheriff
surprise- like
moved out
everything
for the
else.
same
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, right. Yep, and businesses and the like. That's
Yeah.
why
And,
we're
like,
tired of it. I mean,
Linda had her episode in downtown Lowell that put the cover on eating in downtown Lowell.
Yeah.
no kidding.
Well, yeah, right at the Athenian corner, I had him banging on my window. And I
Well,
have to be
what-
honest, if I hadn't had my gun, I would have been really intimidated. Well, I was intimidated. He was intimidated when I put the gun to the window.
Wow.
But, you shouldn't have to do that.
No.
The equalizer.
It's an absolute
Yeah.
last resort, Linda, but yeah.
Yes,
it just-
I know, but it's.
I hear too many stories like that. That's why
I
we
never
passed,
went
that's why
back,
we passed that
why?
homeless
Say
ordinance.
never, but I wouldn't go back, I haven't been back alone since.
Yep, breaks my heart. You
Yeah,
know, that's
because
why.
I used to go down to your place when,
Yep.
at the Dublin, so,
Yep.
and very comfortable there, and it's changed. And
It has.
so,
it has.
and not, I don't think the council's fault, I blame the state for a lot of.
It's the state. We're doing everything we
sorry.
can. That's why I made the motion a few weeks ago.
She doesn't want to work with anybody, so.
Well-
She dumped all these people here without telling anybody.
No, put them in a state building.
Well, how-
That's the story throughout the state, by the way,
Who
yeah.
does that? I mean, what kind of government is that?
They didn't want you to
The
know.
voters
They don't want you to know.
should be paying attention to that.
Yep.
They really should.
Well,
I'm
what-
sorry, it's time to wake
They're
up.
misinformed. The state's put, there is
No one was informed.
No
There
one
it
was
is.
informed.
It wasn't.
Whether you're Woburn, Lowell, I know I talked, I know the mayor of Woburn, they had no idea either,
I know.
until they start showing up in the school system, you know?
It's just, it's not right,
Yeah.
and so, but I think we're coming, slow, it's slow, and I like the direction of the city, and I love this, what you're bringing back from Toronto.
Yep,
I just
which-
think that, I think
You know,
most
Linda, I
people
wanna-
have been up there, it's a wonderful city, for whatever reason, you go up
Yeah,
there for hockey, but,
it's amazing. I'm like, we went from one location to the other, traveling 45 minutes on the highway. I'm like, we're still in Toronto? I mean, I could leave, McDee and I can leave Lowell and be in Hampton Beach in 45 minutes. So the city of Toronto, the population is like 3.5 million, but it's massive, geographically, massive. Again, over 40 minutes on the highway and you're still in Toronto.
yeah.
But they're a major city, people. I had to, my council, look at this place, how do they do it? I'm like, look, you've got three major league, you've got the Toronto Raptors in the NBA, you've got the Toronto Blue Jays in MLB, you've got the Toronto Maple Leafs in NHL. These things are going.
And the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the Hockey Hall of Fame. You
The
got a lot of
cup
good-
is up there.
And you're on the shores of Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
Which it's all built out too. So they got a lot of good things going, natural resources and economic, drivers as well. That this Lowell does not have going for it.
And
No,
they
but
have-
Lowell is situated
And they
well.
have 3 million taxpayers.
3 million, thank you, McDee. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lovely city.
It really is, yeah. So we learned a lot, we took in a lot, and so we're very motivated. So hopefully we'll become a front-runner city.
That's very exciting.
It's huge, I'm telling you,
I
I
would
have
think
no-
everybody
yeah.
came back.
You know,
So
we-
you had management, you had the mayor, you had,
Yep.
that's excellent.
Yep, and then they were talking about buildings in certain areas. I'm like, time out. I said, we have, right in the Hamilton Canal District, it's along the gateway, a main thoroughfare coming through
Yeah.
the city. We got shovel-ready parcels ready to go today, people, okay? So please,
Yeah.
come on down, we'll take you, we're ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're not hesitating.
And
So
once
I'm
you
very excited.
see, it's so sad, because I remember when Jam first came in, and it was exciting then, and you keep waiting
Yep.
and waiting, and
Yep.
and God bless you, you've all tried things, but
And
it,
person from the audience texted this, and unfortunately, the drain on the city is the outdated shelter. He's
You
right.
know, I
okay,
mean,
now, they had a.
It doesn't
homeless-
help, it's
What did they do with
a
their homeless
problem.
problem?
There's no doubt about it, it's a problem. What's
Did
that?
they talk about their homeless problem?
Well, we were specifically looking, everybody was rubbernecking, looking for encampments and we didn't see one panhandler.
And did anybody, what did the
Several-
city say about that?
Several back and forth, the hotels, the meetings, the what, not one panhandler. A couple encampments here and there, very sparse, homelessness seemed to be non-existent.
So how
practically.
did they talk about that? Did they say what they're?
Well, they said there's facilities, we didn't go through any or tour any.
Okay, so it's facilities.
But I don't know where exactly they're located either, Linda. You know, they have a ton of, a swath of land. It could be in the middle of nowhere where no one's affected.
So they didn't offer any solutions for our homeless
No,
problems?
no, we didn't get to all, it was all about economic development. We didn't get into it, nor did I want to bring it up, if you know what I mean.
understand.
I don't want anything to be a,
But it might be something that maybe someone else should go up, because it must be connected to what their economic development is, because you can't,
Linda,
I mean, you
yesterday-
can bring companies in but I'm not gonna go down there if they're gonna ban
Yesterday,
them.
Roddy Elliott made time to pop on.
oh, really?
So we chit-chat a little bit, and we had a little bit of an aggravating conversation. And
Poor Rodney.
Rodney's good, but he doesn't take it to heart.
Yep.
And there's no mindset to fix this issue. There just isn't. There isn't a mindset at the State House to fix this.
No, no.
Nor
It's all on the
nor
local.
in Washington DC, and until Washington DC takes away these people's rights,
Yep.
we have no right to forcibly take them anywhere.
I know, in particular the mentally ill, chronically mentally ill.
It's up to our
need to
wonderful
be-
Elizabeth Warren
Yeah.
and who's the other guy? The other senator?
Ed Markey.
Ed Markey.
Yeah.
Remember him? Well, he doesn't come often.
No. Look at, on a local level, you know, we're not perfect, but we're doing everything we possibly can. We've put in almost $3 million in the last 18 to 24 months, and this is what we're getting. So we're frustrated, much like the residents are, the business owners are, and it's now on the state, it really is. We need the state, I don't want to say that in a critical manner, but we need their help. Okay, we need the help from the judicial system, too. The courts aren't helping us either. It's a revolving door. A judge can see all too well these individuals in front of them that there's mental issues and drug abuse issues. They can see it.
I think you and
But they're
Eric
not- they're not-
discussed this
they're-
earlier.
You know, so instead of letting them back out in the street in the name of compassion, I don't know what the logic is, compassion, whatever. To me, if that's compassion, I want nothing to do with it.
Eric, they don't.
They need
Corey,
to
they don't
go
have to take it.
long-term, you know,
need, but they don't have to take it.
involuntarily, McD, as you stated, involuntarily, long-term treatment.
And that's against the law.
Yes, it is.
You
Yeah.
house, if
Till
I
that
take
changes,
you and
yeah.
house you forcibly,
Yep,
you can get $1 million judgment against me.
yep.
And
Well,
that's,
Yeah.
that's
And the
what I want.
laws were created by people that went back to their gated houses
Well, we-
somewhere else.
Well, we need the facilities to be there, number one. That's why I made motions as to expanding services at state hospitals. So maybe the courts would be more inclined to put them, you know,
We're never going to be able to convince
Maybe.
anyone to build a facility if it's not going to be used. These folks,
Hmm.
we can build them a little house, like my friend Cliff. We'll build little houses. Well, Cliff, what do you want to do when they sleep outside the house? It's their little house. We built it for them, and they sleep outside. What are you going to do?
Hmm.
These people need mental
Yep,
management.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
They-
it's
If
not
they were
law.
institutionalized, took medication, they could have a normal life, somewhat of a normal life. On the street, freelancing, medicating with street drugs, that's not the answer, and that's what's going on.
On the housing in general, I don't know how anybody
We can't
is supporting rent,
Yeah.
are able
No.
to pay rent these days and then
Right.
live. I mean,
Right.
pay, so John's right, they're never going to be able to buy a car.
When you talk this population, you know, people mention affordable housing for the homeless. Housing for the homeless needs to be entirely subsidized. That's what people are failing to understand.
Yeah.
Entirely, okay? Until they can get on their feet, you know,
Whether
into
it's
society,
addiction or mental
reintegrated, whether it's addiction or mental illness, it's entirely subsidized. It's not affordable housing, okay? Because they have.
Well,
they
first
have
of all, affordable is that is a political term,
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
for contractors. That was the 40B, and it is a
Yes,
disaster.
and we need that too, there's a need for that too, don't get me wrong. Because, you know, salaries aren't going up as fast as Lowell putting
Right,
in
but
aquatic center.
25% is not the
Two
answer.
issues from the audience.
The
is
homeless
Lowell
and-
putting in an aquatic center.
No, I did not say that. I said we visited one in Toronto, part of the Urban Pavilion, part of the tour with the UN. They, you know, this is part of what they invested in, is the aquatic center for the community. That was in Toronto.
Second comment is,
We're years away from an aquatic center in Lowell, to answer that question.
the homeless industrial complex will never go away. We spend millions on people who don't contribute to society. Thank you for your comments.
No, I get it. It's a big contribution. I hear you. But a lot of that was ARPA money, which is about to run out. So I don't see me raising taxes to subsidize homeless. I'm not.
But
Well, how are we going to keep those 30 people who are going to get laid off?
That's a good question, McD. We're going to be facing a
You
lot
have
of
to
tough
do is
decisions.
Consider telling your manager when someone retires, they're not replaced without council consent.
Well, I mean,
Now so if that happens, I'll bet you there's probably 500 people a year that retire from the city of Lowell. There's 500 positions. That's 500 wheelbarrows of money
that's a
that we
big
can
number.
utilize to keep these 30 people.
You know, it's interesting that, I'm not being facetious, but the Aquatic Center, the Y, the new director at the Y has been very aggressive and working. It had a lot to do with the South Common. And so it's not far-fetched to look at the Y, where the Y is situated, and work with them and get them involved. Again, it's got to be a multifaceted program, and that's what they do with an international
yes, and
grant.
that aquatic center this is what, I mean, there's no return on investment for an aquatic center, right? I mean, this is free to the community.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Would I like to see one? Well, absolutely. But, you know, we can't afford it. I know that much.
No, but
It has
you may
to
be able
you
to
know,
get, again, if you incorporate
the maintenance.
the Y and different
Toronto
things.
has 3 million taxpayers. We're lacking 2.9 million taxpayers.
Yes,
for
but
an
if you
aquatic
get
center.
an international
Population's under
funds.
15,000, so yes, do the math.
Yeah.
Okay, so next comment from the
Yeah.
audience. I was on Route 2 yesterday. I saw an empty piece of state property in Concord that would be a great treatment center.
Yeah.
I'm sure the good people of Concord would love to
Oh,
have these people
yeah.
advocate for living.
Very good. Thank you.
That's right.
You love, huh?
And they are the ones
I
that,
beg
and
to
they go
differ.
back to Concord, you're absolutely right.
Those are the folks that say you need to help these people.
But
in
that
Lowell.
is, that you've got the prison right there, why
Government
not?
is going to, the governor is going to sell that before anybody can do anything with it.
She's
Well-
gonna fill it with illegals.
We need help, you know, it only makes sense.
She's still saying, come, I'm not gonna let the government, those horrible feds do anything to you.
But what are we going to do when they do come?
Well, talk to her, but they'll re-elect her
doesn't
again.
listen.
What do you want me to say? I didn't vote for her.
Linda, she came to the South Common. She came to the South Common to unveil this wonderful project, water fountain, or whatever they put in the South Common. They kicked the homeless off the Common for that day. No one asked her any direct questions. They didn't invite reporters to the press conference.
But
That's
she
not
also
the
didn't
governor
tell
would want.
anybody from the city at that time that, oh, by the way, I'm taking over your center from the university, just down the street.
Nope. Yeah, well, it's a state building. They don't need local approval, Linda. Unfortunately.
know,
And Michael
but-
said we would have liked to know. No, there was no committee. They didn't notify anybody. They shacked up everybody in hotels, the migrants, and didn't notify any community.
Well, it's a
Lowell's not the
slap in
community.
the face to anybody that has immigrated here properly and gone, nobody gave them a handout, nobody gave them an EBT card, nobody put them in a hotel room, the refugees. And so, it's just a slap in the face to them, and they became citizens the normal, hard way, but it wasn't given to them. And these people probably will never become citizens. Why would they?
Well, Linda,
Yep, I mean, that's-
respectfully,
Why would they
the
bother?
path to citizenship is so complicated that it's crazy. First of all, they send you a postcard in a language you can't read of what to, so you get a postcard in the mail. What's this say? Oh, just ignore it.
But it can be done. You know it can be done.
There's no mindset down in Washington D.C. to fix
Well,
it.
no.
And those are the people
But
in
again,
charge.
you look at,
Stop electing the same people.
well, you're
They
absolutely,
just all got back in for 6 years. Elizabeth Warren's
Yep.
back in
we
for
won't
6
see
years.
her, she and Mark, they'll never be back here.
Oh, she's gone on vacation with Kamala.
Well, I also have some good news for the taxpayers as well.
Good.
We discussed it last night, the city's bond rating went up, which is from an A1 to a AA3, which is a 2-level increase, by the way.
Wow.
So what a bond rating is, let's compare, it's basically equates to a credit rating for an individual.
Yeah.
Okay? So it improved basically by 2 levels, which is great news. So as we face, the additional bonding we need to do on the high school, and projects like the sewer, combined sewer overflow, which is sewer separation, which is federally mandated we have to do without money, they're saying you have to do this. So we're gonna have to bond almost 150 to 200 million there. unless we get some federal funds.
So explain that to everybody about the bond rating. What does that do what are the numbers?
I'm getting to that, so what
Okay.
I'm saying is the money we're gonna have to borrow, again, the high school, there's two major projects that stick out. The
Yeah.
high school, obviously, and the sewer separation, okay? Again, sewer separation is mandated by the
I know,
feds with
with
no money.
no money, I know.
Give a poor city like that, I'm furious.
It's going to get worse.
But perhaps, Congresswoman Tahan may come through with some funding, who knows? So we're gonna have to borrow money. So that means our interest rate just went down a little bit. So the taxpayers are going to save money there. So
Okay.
that's great news, right? So, as well as, what also factored in is the future projects. They said specifically Lowell's economic development pipeline, if you will, the projects like the transportation district I alluded to earlier, the Hamilton Canal, the link project with the university. All this is economic growth, which we got to try and fast track the best we can. All this combined, they look at as an economic driver, and the tax base is going to increase. So the forecast looks very good for Lowell. Basically, our interest rate, our credit rating went up, and we're in a pretty good position. So
Yeah.
it doesn't get much better than where we
No,
are now. So
no.
we're in a very good spot. It's because of sound financial practices by the administration, both previous administrations, so I'll go back to Manager Donahue and Murphy. But, we got a great CFO, Connor Bown, who's 10 years been with all three of these managers. And so we got some very good financial practices in the city. We live within our means, and we got a good credit rating to.
That's huge.
to-
Could you pass that on to the federal government?
Yep, it's very good news for the homeowners and the taxpayers.
Yeah.
When we borrow money, our interest rate just went down, which is huge.
Well, I'm very excited about the trip to Toronto because Lowell is a gateway city, and they have so much to offer because of it. And with the university's been a big player, and the project that they're planning down in near Lowell State is really, I think that's a
Yep.
fabulous.
Oh, it really is. It's tremendous. I sat with the chancellor a few weeks ago, and she showed, because I'm got here late, obviously, so I want to get up to speed. And I was supposed to be a 30-minute meeting. I was there an hour and a half.
Yeah.
She had the whole project on the screen, and I'm identifying parcels, and we're trying to, the city owns this one. We're looking at all surface lots
Yeah.
that can be developed and go up.
Yes.
So the idea is what we want to do is create density by going up, because we're land poor in Lowell.
Yep.
And so we want to see some high rises for housing. We really
But
do.
what I like about it is that the university it's taking some of the technology and the students that they're training and teaching
Yep.
and having them stay in Lowell, and the programs and the development is actually going to be in Lowell. They're
Right.
not going out to Chelmsford
No.
or Concord or somewhere.
Retention, Linda. We
It's-
talked about that earlier, right?
It's and it's really cutting edge technology.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's
It's going to be one of the hubs in the country for sports injury nutrition. So we're going to be affiliated with stuff like the NFL and all the major
Oh, yeah,
sports.
absolutely.
It's all we're going to be cutting. It's so cool. It really is.
Well, and then you can
So-
tie it into this whole thing with the Toronto and the international. The fact that they've designated Lowell and all of management and the council is up there and on the first base ready to go with it, ready to run is kind
Yep.
of
So
interesting.
that's why I make motions when we look at our zoning next year, let's identify our parcels that we can work with the university. Any surface lot that we can do, go up near garages, let's go up. Let's identify it as buildable and get these things on the tax base, shall we?
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to accomplish on a citywide level, and it's a very top priority of mine.
I got four more announcements of communications from the audience. The parents never become citizens. Children born here from the illegals are automatically citizens. It's called an anchor baby. Interesting point.
It is.
It is, yeah.
If the state, Healy, refuses to help ICE when Trump comes into office, does the city have any plans on what to do if the feds cut federal aid to the state, in turn cutting it from the city? That's from Drew Peacock.
Interesting.
Okay.
This is from Mark Kratman. He says, "Happy
Oh, okay,
Thanksgiving,
yeah.
my friend. Great show. Tell Linda
Thank you,
hello
Mark.
from Oz."
Thank you.
And,
Same to you. Have a
Happy
wonderful
Thanksgiving
holiday.
as well.
He, Mark
is-
also sent this little announcement. Now, I'm not doing announcements because I'm going on vacation. They'll be too dated, but
Yeah,
Tewksbury Senior Center on Saturday, December 14th, from 6 to 10 p.m., is having the Friends of the Elderly Christmas Party, $25 per person. Dinner's catered by the Village Inn. That'll be a yummy.
whoa, huh?
Music provided by the Renaissance for your dancing and listening pleasure.
Well, that's
Cash bar,
exciting.
Raffles, tickets available on Thursday and Wednesdays at the reception desk in the Senior Center in Tewksbury. Seating is limited. Be sure to make sure your reservation no later than December 9th. No tickets sold at the door. Thank you, Mark Kratman. You're
That's
good
a
guy.
wonderful thing, Mark.
Tewksbury's a better place because
Another
you were
wonderful
there.
thing in Tewksbury.
Yeah, Bill, how do you get Village Inn? Wow.
Yeah, good steak.
Yes, it is. Great
So
place.
getting back to, is there any plans about, if the governor decides to buck Trump and Trump pulls all the federal funds, how much federal funds come into the city?
Well, a lot of money and a lot of different things.
Yeah. So what pressure does, do you?
Well,
that might
Lowell
make-
is not, we looked at, it was proposed when my previous tenure to be a sanctuary city. We did not vote for it. I did not vote for it.
but,
Because essentially, we already are.
we are a sanctuary city.
Well, I'm just talking about when I was on my tenure, my vote.
Are we still?
My vote at the time.
But right, 2024, are we a sanctuary city still, or no?
I don't believe so, no.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. I did not,
Someone should tell the governor that then.
it was proposed,
Just
it was
wanna
proposed when I was on the council. I did not vote for it because essentially we already are, and I didn't think
I
it
agree
necessary
with you.
to
I think-
declare it. And
Yeah,
I will say
I agree
going
with you.
forward, look, I don't know what's gonna happen with ICE and all this, but, any public safety threat that is in the city, which I hold a high value on, public safety, I want cooperation with any enforcement. So when it comes to public safety threats,
Yeah.
I'll just start with that and I'll leave it at that.
Right.
But other than that, there's been no discussion on it.
Thank you.
So, but I will protect the citizens of Lowell at all costs, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Going back to the stormwater issue, we're dealing with it, everybody, the whole state, every community has to deal with stormwater. And you're right, that no one knows how entailed that is and how much money
Oh.
that's gonna cost you with the
Huge, yeah.
separating the sewer
Yep.
system.
To an old city like Lowell, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just say, you gotta do it. Yeah.
But even in
It's
the
like,
local.
where's the
Right.
money? Where's the check? What do you mean? This is 200 million, yeah.
But they're mandating it. That's
They're
what I
mandating
hate
it,
about
yeah.
the government.
Yep.
They come up, state and feds come up with these programs to communities,
Linda,
no
in the
money.
United States, we just frankly throw too much stuff away. We just do. I mean, you look at, your barrels are over, why do all stuff you just bought is in your barrel. Too much stuff we have thrown away, it's terrible. The comment from the audience, the downtown area needs new blood. Tear down some of the old dusty buildings for private investment.
Well,
You know,
okay, I mean, by and large, I would disagree with that a little bit. By and large, the infrastructure's in pretty good shape. On the
They had to
interior.
gut them and renovate them.
Right, and on the interior, that's another story where, especially on Merrimack Street and Central Street where the second, third floors needed, we need elevators to make them ADA compliant, to make them buildable. Whether it be for housing or office space, either one's fine with me.
With the City of Lightsport
But
coming
we're
out-
looking to create new development, again, on the outskirts with the Hamilton Canal and the Jam area and along the transportation, Gallagher Terminal. That's where we're going to be creating some new infrastructure. That's where the land is. And then you have historic guidelines, which are barriers too, and knocking down our buildings. So we
Just
run
restore
into,
them.
right, it's just best to restore
Renovate.
them.
Got
If
to
they're
renovate.
structurally sound. The Smith Baker
Oh, yeah.
across from the high school, that's another story. We're still making motions on that. I'm like, this is going to
Oh,
be in the
God.
last,
It's gonna fall down before they do
I
anything.
know, exactly. I'm almost ready, it's going to be like 1.2 million to tear it down. In that case, if it's not structurally sound, which I don't believe, we'll wait for the engineer's report to make it official, let's knock it down, let's raise it, then that parcel becomes worth money. With that monstrosity sitting there, it's not worth anything beside, and the city's probably going to spend $1 million the next 5-10 years.
Put a
in maintenance
hotel there.
In maintenance anyway. So why not spend it now, knock it down for housing, whatever it may, get it back out, let's get it on the tax rolls. So, but by and large, no, it's going to be difficult to knock down buildings in the downtown. I see your point, and it needs vibrancy. It's not the infrastructure's fault. We need businesses in there. We need to clean it up with lighting, and enforcement, and so we're working on that. Believe me, I was a downtown businessman 15 years.
Quite bluntly, is this weekend. The City of Lights Parade is Saturday. Yep. Now, it's the first event since we cleaned the homeless out of the city. I know there's a better way to put that, but since
you're not so cleaning them up, it's just the people outnumber the homeless.
This is an opportunity for the city to shine.
Yes,
it's
and
up
we will.
to your manager.
Yep.
To make sure we do shine.
And
make
we
sure
will.
that downtown Lowell, all the employees are always courteous, to make sure they're extra courteous, to make sure that the barrels are empty to receive the trash they're going to get on Saturday.
Correct.
Because all this stuff has to happen.
Yep.
And you have, in my mind, these are my words, not yours, a poor manager. And so he reacts. He's not proactive, he's a reactive guy. And that's just not the kind of manager that I like. And I'm not asking you to criticize whatever, he's your manager. I'm disappointed in the guy.
Okay, well, I'm not. He asks he does what I ask of him in my short tenure. The council seems to be pleased by and large. I don't know every councilor's thoughts, but no, look, the downtown, I think in recent months and years has cleaned up as far as trash and debris and the little things.
Well, we've been afraid to go down there, so we wouldn't.
I know a lot of people are. I hear that from everybody. Believe me, Linda's horror story, and that incident at Owl Diner with the Chelmsford swim team infuriates me. To see a small business like that, they're getting killed because of this issue. So we're working on it. We are being proactive. We made a difficult motion on the homeless encampments. So we're being proactive by and large. It's just, it's just we need is more activity, more special events like this weekend, like the Folk Festival, like the Halloween Bash. I want them, closing streets on a regular basis, find the money, let's get people down there, so activity more or less pushes off in a natural way the homeless, okay? It's like, a good activity, if you will.
Didn't see any during the folk festivals, really.
Yeah, I mean, they may be on the outs, but when you got thousands of people, it becomes almost obsolete.
So when's the parade? That's
Saturday.
Saturday, starting at 4:30.
Are you marching in the parade, Corey?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
It's supposed to be it's going to be a chilly day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be warmed up by then. I feel for all the shade they have on Jackson Street, those poor kiddos freeze.
I know, yeah, it's just setting up there, right?
A good time. It's gigantic event.
It is, yeah. We've advertised on Channel 5 and some major media outlets too this year, so we expect a good crowd. And then we got Winterfest in February. So, I want to see these special events, these activities ramped up. I really do.
Well, these activities will bring people back into downtown.
Absolutely.
And if downtown is shining and we don't have people sleeping on the sidewalks, which we will not, it's a good opportunity to bring a lot of people back to Lowell.
Yep.
And don't forget this Tewksbury and the Festival of Trees.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Starts Friday.
Tell us about what's going to happen.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yes, Allison Page, and we had her last week. A lot going on, and they're going to be shutting down some of the streets in Tewksbury in the center there. So plenty of parking and a lot of activities.
So this is Friday. What time?
It starts the tree lighting. I believe they're around 5 o'clock. It's starting, and then it's going, this year they're doing 2 weekends. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then the next week they're not doing Sunday because you'll pick up the 24-foot tree you win.
All in town center by the
2 weekends, huh? I like that.
Bridge. By the Tewksbury bridges, all by the traffic light. That's what it's all
and
gonna
it's
be.
just all the way up to the library. And I would say to everybody, go up there and see our library. It's just our old library. It's a historical building, and it's just adorable, and sort of a step back in time. But that's where all the art people are going to be up there. So it's but they have Santa's going to be there Friday, and then he's going to be there the next week and Saturday. So, and the lights are gorgeous. You gotta drive through Tingsboro. The lights are gorgeous in the center of town at Christmas time. They've done a lot with the center of Tingsboro. It looks, the meeting house, just beautiful, and the trees that, she has over 125 trees that just to view.
Yeah, I saw some pictures from last time, and she
Yeah,
says there's
and you
much
can
more
take,
now.
you can take a chance on them, just I would recommend, because I have been down this road and made a big mistake one time. Careful what tree you take a chance on, because if it is a 20-foot tree, you may not be able to fit it in your house.
That's sizable. Yeah.
But it will look pretty, I would, when you win it, but anyway.
We'll put it in McDee's parking lot here out front. We'll find a home for it.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody has a home for it. I mean, it's just so, I'm just saying, pay attention to what you do, but there are wreaths and everything. There's a wreath decorating session there, and floral decoration, things for the kids, cookie making. So get online and check all the activities out there. A light show, all kinds of light shows, and there's one inside the old meeting house. So it's, so between Lowell and
Yep.
Tingsboro, right, jumping off the highway, coming up here. Come on, Mark, from Tewksbury, come on up and see us.
You'll have, Friday night, you can do Tingsboro, Saturday you can come to Lowell. Right.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of.
Get in the
yeah.
spirit. Let's get in this.
Yep.
I think everybody's ready, don't you?
Absolutely, yep.
Everybody's ready to be happy and enjoying this weekend. To everybody, please go to Thanksgiving dinner. Go see your family. It's time.
yes.
It's time to bury the hatches and everybody.
Yes, come
If you-
downtown this weekend,
If you go to
especially some of you.
Facebook, this is on Facebook if you want more
There's
information
the
about
festival of trees.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Allison Page, and all the volunteers. Colin and our manager, and we have. I'd like to talk to Corey because we have a new DPW. We have a new structure in town, so I'm interested in how he's seeing that works when you see management working with other people. So, and the changes, but yes, Tingsboro is as I say, 2 weekends.
Oh, nice.
And it's a beautiful event. And just like, it's a parade, that's a huge event on Saturday.
Yeah, it should be well attended.
Yeah.
Very excited for it, so.
So,
And especially
if
the
you want more
especially the
information-
post-game activities
and
too.
Saturday in the afternoon, you can go out to Tingsboro because they're gonna have all the things out there.
There it is, boom.
A lot of.
Very nice.
Yeah.
If you go to Facebook, City of Lights, Lowell, there's plenty of information right here to help you,
Now,
go to that.
and to you, all you Texans knocking the downtown, well, here's your chance to come downtown for an exciting weekend.
Yep.
Actually, we do have good weekends here and there, and this being one of them. So,
Yeah.
come on down. It's not as bad as you think.
Bring your grandchildren, you're gonna have a blast. It's a good time.
Absolutely.
It is, that's a wonderful parade.
It really is. Yep.
Yeah. I should have asked, Eric
Eric,
about
the students do a nice float every
They
year.
always do a
Usually
nice
wins the
float.
thing,
Yeah.
They do such good work.
Well, they're
Yeah.
so talented,
Yeah.
they really are.
So, McDee, let me ask you this. How excited are you for the proposed development there along the commuter rail and all, which is going to be, you'll be in the shadows of some of these buildings potentially. So, what's your thoughts on,
I think it's wonderful, but the growth in the work from home
Yeah.
is unbelievable. So I'm
Yes.
happy to find out through Lee Gitschier that Verizon is expanding their internet, and if we get the best internet that's out there,
yep,
that's really going to help the city. And you can build whatever you want, but 2024, people live on a computer screen.
yeah,
At work, you sit at a computer.
yes.
And
It's
we
fun,
need to
yeah.
have excellent speed, and thanks to Verizon,
Yep.
they're really breaking some ice there, doing a good job.
Right.
So I'm
It's
looking
funny you
forward
say
to it.
that, yeah. To that point, all the councils, we spoke to the forum. I mean, these people, they want to invest money in Lowell, so we want to put on the fund. But I explained the climate, how, economic development, where Lowell, we streamlined the permit process. We work with developers with tax relief in the beginning. We do everything we can, but financing's always a problem, along with interest rates in the states. This is one hurdle that we're facing, for instance, the hotel, okay? Plenty of investors, we streamlined the permit process. The historic board, everybody came together, and then financing's a big problem, right? But as far as buildings, what we're seeing is that, in the Hamilton Canal, we envisioned, if you will, back in my previous tenure, pre-COVID, retail, commercial, first floor, right?
Yeah.
Coffee shops, restaurants, second and third floors, mid-floors, office space, right? top floor is residential, nice mixed use, so you got vibrancy, you got a
Yeah.
day audience, you know, and, so, but the demand for office space, as McD alluded to, it has dwindled. I explained to them, look, everybody's remote working in the States largely. You know, we're seeing the demand for commercial office space really drop. But however, we get the demand for housing, we got a housing crisis. So that is there to replace the lack of commercial.
But when we can brag
So-
about our internet speed to people who are gonna come to Lowell and work from home.
Yeah.
You build an apartment
Yeah,
house.
that'd be
and I
good,
get
yeah.
fantastic speed. This guy's gotta love
Yeah.
you, Corey.
Grand reopening may just,
When is that?
hey, who is this Drew Peacock guy?
Well, he loves you. I don't know who he is, but
Really?
Well, when is that? That's
Is he a
interesting.
Tewksbury guy? Is he-
I don't know.
Is that what I heard? Okay, all
he's
right.
from the, no, that's Mark Rabbit. No,
Oh, okay, all right, I confused him, all
different
right.
person.
All right, Drew, thanks for your input. Yes, Major's Pub is sadly missed, especially on nights like tonight where I would close the street and have a tent. And
Yeah.
I'd have 600-700 people in a huge tent on a night like tonight.
A lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and with very little problems. I don't miss the stress, but there was some good times, absolutely.
Next comment is on downtown. I went to Little Delights last week and
Yep.
was asked for
For
money.
money
To put it
put in
mildly, when
yeah.
I came out, the guy obviously had mental issues. The
Yep.
safest thing to do is to ignore the guy and walk away as fast as you can. The cupcakes were phenomenal and worth the aggravation.
All right, well, thank you. All right,
Well,
it
they'll
seems to
get
be...
to go down during the.
It seems to be worth the trip. And, you know, look, as far as the Panhandle is, another thing we tried in my previous tenure, 2015, matter of fact, Dick Howe Jr. just wrote about it on his blog, we tried to pass an ordinance for aggressive panhandling. We brought it, overridden by the state Supreme Court.
Well, maybe with this international plan, they can just stomp right over the governor and have more
People
influence. They
need
will
to-
have more influence.
Yep, we need to do
Because
an
the feds,
initiative.
yeah.
We need to do an initiative, don't give the panhandlers. If you want, you feel like you have to give to a charity, go down write a check to the shelter or the food bank, there's
Yeah.
your gift.
Salvation Army.
Salvation
particularly this time
Army,
of year.
there's many outlets here. If you want to give, do not give cash to a panhandler. It's just,
No.
when I see it, I'm just like, oh my, what can you can't say anything, but it's frustrating
I
because that money is most likely going to a bad habit, if you will.
Yeah, I love this time of year, and you see the Salvation. I cannot walk by one of those
Comment
kettles.
from the
No, it's
audience.
frustrating.
I like Mr. Belanger's idea some time ago about during the winter.
Yes,
the
I
South
campaigned
County
on that.
Ice
Yep.
skating.
Yep.
Well, that's an interesting.
And who proposed when in that tumultuous high school battle, right? Colley Stadium and remaining downtown, right? It's downtown now, as we all know. But who proposed South Common for the high school? Right here, Councilor Belanger. As a perfect middle ground. Was there challenges? Absolutely. But it was centrally located. We got the bus terminal across the street. It's still somewhat centrally located. We wouldn't even be talking about this right now, you know, but what's done is done. Look, we're going to make that high
Well,
school the
this
best it
area,
can
you've
be.
got the Y. I'm telling you, the
But-
Y is up and coming in Lowell.
Yeah, yep, but I did propose putting the high school there many moons ago.
So, but an ice rink. What do you think about it?
That's a great idea in the winter, yep.
Yeah. Well, put that on your
Yeah.
list of
Need a
things to look
sponsor. You know, maybe we
into.
should relive that, that's good. But, you know, it's going to cost money, you know?
Yeah.
But
I think we should groom the hills for sledding, tobogganing.
yeah.
Good time.
It's an amphitheater. It's perfect for concerts and stuff like, it really is. It's a beautiful park.
Well, as kids, in
I
high
used to
school.
slide over. I used to slide over there. I've had a wonderful. Got to get those benches
Yep.
out of there. I crashed into a bench and it was not a good day.
Hey, you scratched the bench.
Well, that's interesting. I
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
it would be nice
No,
to get
we-
the common going again.
Yeah, we need activity there, you know?
So, Where
It's
does
become overrun.
where does the parade start and where does it go?
Starts on Jackson Street, takes a left onto Central, up to Merrimack, you take a left onto Merrimack, over to City Hall Plaza.
And it ends there.
Yep,
Okay.
ends there.
You can stop at all the pubs and restaurants on the way.
Yep, should be a good, it should be a good day and night for the shops and restaurants,
That's-
absolutely. Because
that's
the
exciting.
normal course of business, it's pretty difficult.
It's going
you
to be
know?
a little chilly, but I don't think the weather's supposed to be bad after
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
mid-40s, yeah,
Yeah.
during, at peak, but, you know, hopefully it's not too windy.
And what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Friends and family, I'm gonna hit breakfast at Kilkenny Pub tomorrow morning. They're open. I'm right in my district, and have a few adult beverages with friends and friends and family in the morning before I go to a family house and have dinner.
Very
So
nice.
That's
Well,
always been a long tradition. Thanksgiving morning in Lowell, where you go out, have a cup, you know.
I love
I love it, so much
Thanksgiving.
fun. I do
You know,
too.
it's
Yeah.
you don't have the stress that you have at Christmas. You get to sit and eat good food and
Yep.
have a drink or two and enjoy let's get over this nonsense of everybody being angry.
Right.
Let's all, enjoy the holidays.
Absolutely. Put everything
We're only here for, we're here for a very short time and stick with
it.
the positive energy.
You don't have to talk to
Don't waste
Councilor
it.
Belanger, believe me.
Here's the map I got off of Google of where the parade's gonna go.
Yep,
And this is Jackson Street,
yes.
down by Espresso Pizza's right here.
Yes,
So it's
there we
just
go,
to give you a
up
frame
Central,
of
yep.
reference where that
Yep.
is.
Go.
So Jackson Street, then it's gonna go down Central,
Yep,
all the way until it ends, and then it takes a left on Merrimack, goes by City Hall.
yep.
And they disassemble over here.
Yep,
So-
what I would do if anybody plans on coming is to park, like near the high school, John Street, those side streets in the back there, Page and John, look for those, look for a meter spot in the back. Or near City Hall on Market Street, Upper Market or Merrimack Street near City Hall, there's all kinds of parking areas there too. So you can find some, if you're savvy enough, you can find some on-street surface parking there free of charge and walk over to the parade route, get there a little early.
Yeah.
And you should be able to find a parking spot on the street.
Now, is it free parking all day, or we gotta pay during daylight?
I have not heard about free parking, but there should be. That's what there should be.
understand.
Yeah.
Well, something that don't let it go by the boards is the women's pro team, hockey team, their home rink is
Yep.
Songus.
Yep.
And they're getting great crowds there. It's pretty exciting.
Yes, it's drawing quite a crowd, yeah.
And I recommend anybody to go see them. It's top shelf hockey.
It really
It's-
is. It really
it's,
is. I heard great
professional
things about
hockey.
it. Yep.
And
And UMass Lowell, the men's hockey's ranked this year too. They're ranked 15th in the country, I believe, so
Yeah.
they're having a decent year.
so
Very
that's another place, and that's not
Yep.
that far from City Hall. So if
Yep.
you can come down, get a bite to eat, and go over and look at great hockey
Yep.
in Lowell. So
Boy, Lynn, there's a lot to like about Lowell. I'll tell you.
oh, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to bring my granddaughter, who's a little hockey player.
Yeah, there you
down
go.
And to see the women's hockey. So it's just amazing that you have the national hockey team there. It's just women's hockey.
Right.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
But UMass
I'll
Lowell
take
has always they've been,
Yeah.
way back to Bruce Crowder and.
Yeah, it's
and,
very popular
Bill
program.
O'Neill that
Yep.
brought,
Does well attendance
Division One.
wise, gets people, any way we can get people in the downtown, Saugus and auditorium,
now you gotta get a
MRT.
hotel, Corey. You gotta
I
get
know,
a
I want
hotel
that.
back because
Councilor
people,
Gitschier has got a motion, I'm anxious to see with that, I don't know,
there's nowhere to stay, even if,
I
it's
know,
not
we
just
need-
you, it's in Chelmsford, it's a disaster.
we need that hotel back.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want that hotel. Oh, by the way, the
and the
governor-
conference center.
We've been notified, the state is extending their lease, McD, and I'm sure you'll be glad to hear this. The migrants will be there until the end of 2025, at least another year. So, I
you,
want it
Governor
back.
Healy.
Liar, pants on fire, Governor.
So we,
Yeah.
but after, we need to start talking about it, early next year.
Will
as
she
to-
be there in '26?
That's a good question. But all I know is I want this back online. Like I said, we got a national Golden Glove competition. The Golden Glove National is going to
Really?
be in Lowell in 2027, in June of 2027. That's just one thing. The Lowell Folk Festival needs a hotel. The auditorium needs a hotel. We need that thing back online. We really do.
Phil Shea was in the Golden
And the
Globes.
governor needs to let her heart bleed.
Well, I have a thing, we can help, Lowell has done its share to help these migrants. We've done our share. We always have and always will. But again, I have a thing called economic development to worry about too.
Yeah.
And, so.
They've
I
dealt
want
with
this-
refugees and
Yeah.
they've dealt with them very well.
We're coming
Yes,
up
we
to
have.
the end, and everybody wishes everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Have a great time away
Yes,
vacation. Thank
yeah.
you. Thanks for the guests getting up early this morning. Happy
Yes.
Thanksgiving. That's Keith Rudy's in the middle there.
Oh,
Yes,
Keith,
Keith,
happy
happy
Thanksgiving, my friend, you and your family.
So
Yeah.
thank you for your comments, and we're done taking comments today. Thanks.
Yeah. See everybody at Kilkenny Pub for breakfast tomorrow morning, everyone.
Oh, man.
Good idea.
Fun
Yeah,
time,
it is a good idea,
Yep.
actually. So, well.
Yep, gonna be a fun time.
yeah. Be
Kilkenny's
careful if
for
they
breakfast.
were getting some rain or possibly some
Well,
sleet.
there's
I know.
black ice outside right now. There's black
Yeah.
ice.
So be a little careful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Particularly traveling tomorrow. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Yes, and tonight's a big night out too. It's Thanksgiving Eve, right?
Oh, it
Usually-
always is.
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah, I used to go to downtown Lowell bars, and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you run into kids you went to high school
I
with.
know,
That's
right.
And they're not
That's why I used to have a
kids
big
anymore.
party
They
on-
got canes
yeah.
and walkers.
Yeah.
I used to close Jackson Street with a big tent, and hundreds and hundreds, it used to be packed,
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, it really was. I mean, the stress, I don't miss that, but it was very well attended. That was a whole different, now that we had majors up there, cappies, everything's gone,
Well, when you had a kid in Majors, Charlie Chronopoulos.
Yes.
He's down in Nashville. He has hit it big time.
Really? Oh, wow.
So he started
Okay.
at Majors. I
Yep.
used to see him.
Remember him
That's
well.
Charlie
Across the
Chronopoulos'
street. Yep.
grandson.
Yep, lived across the
He is
street.
very talented.
Yeah, good musician, yeah.
And so, but he's down in Nashville. He's really hitting the big time and well-deserved. He's a very talented young man.
Excellent. So,
I got to see him when he was just a kid at Majors.
oh, yep.
So,
Yep, very exciting times. But
Yeah.
again, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. To my District 3 Belvedere folks, please don't hesitate to reach out for any issues you may have. I'm very accessible to you. And we got a lot of great things going on in the district in 2023. A lot of ARPA money has been spent for park improvements, infrastructure.
Oh, good.
A lot of paving going on, some sidewalks. So I'm going to have a busy year next year. And looking forward to all these projects and upgrades in Belvedere next year. So,
yeah, you got a big issue there with Andover Street.
yeah,
and the
Andover
con-
Street's on the burner,
Yeah, and what they're going to do, whether they're going to do the.
Well, I'll tell you what, Linda, I spoke to it last night. It seems that remaining concrete is ahead in the polls, if you will. Because my district's very engaged. We have to
I
tell you
know
about
it's thump,
Belvedere.
thump, thump, but it's
Yeah.
always been thump, thump,
Yeah,
thump.
but it's going to be leveled off. You can still level it off, grind the joints and level it where it's minimized.
Yes.
You know? But people like the character and uniqueness
Yes.
of, and if it continues to trend this way for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to tell the manager, my constituents have spoken, I want to give them what they
That's
want.
what you're interested,
You know?
yeah.
It's not ultimately my decision or the council's decision.
Yeah.
It's the administrations and the engineers. However, it seems to be,
There's no city
Concrete.
life tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving,
yeah.
so we're all going to sleep in. On Friday, Cliff's going to be here with Eileen Del Rossi, and they're all
Isn't-
going on
Thank you.
vacation.
here's an action-packed show. Cliff Krieger lives in my district too, so.
Well, thank
Very
you for
active.
watching. Thank you for coming in. Thank you,
My
Eric,
pleasure.
for coming in early. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming in early.
Yep.
And happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes, have a
And
great Thanksgiving,
Won't see
everybody.
you for a couple of weeks, but
Thanks for
I'll see you
watching.
back in December.
Tina,
Thank you
next
for
time.
watching.